Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGamingTech.com video we have fantastic news for users of EA's Origin service. For 24 hours after you have initially activated your title, you are completely eligible for a full refund. I'm going to read you guys out a quote before we do some analysis on this. If something doesn't work out, you aren't riveted by the story or sucked in by the action, or even if the game doesn't play well on your video card, we've got your back. Requesting a refund is quick and easy. Just visit your order history and click a request refund link next to your recent purchases. Answer a quick few questions and we'll take it from there. Now there are a couple of caveats for this. The first caveat is it has to be one of the publisher's own games. The second caveat is that you are eligible for this up to a week after your original purchase date, or a week after the game's release date if you've pre-ordered. So in other words, let's say you've pre-ordered a game a month in advance, then obviously they won't take, your week after purchase won't start until the game's officially released. Let's assume, just for example, it's officially released on March the 1st, then that is the date that your time will start ticking, if you will. Now, there's no mention as to why Electronic Arts have done this, but one thing is for certain: it's absolutely fantastic, and I'm really happy they've introduced this. Now, the refund policy will actually be live in 20 countries right now, but it will be available worldwide by the end of September. Now, there are a couple of little things I'd like to discuss. Firstly, I'd really hope that Steam does similar for at least its own games. Obviously, it's very difficult to police this for titles that aren't owned by you. So let's just assume, for example, Ubisoft games. It's very difficult for Steam to ask Ubisoft, well, you know what, can you return this person's money? They don't really like your game much. In fact, they think it kind of sucks. Another point I'd like to make is I'm not exactly sure I like the 24-hour return policy either, as in I don't necessarily know if I agree with that period of time. I think what would be better, my personal opinion, would be 1 hour of gameplay. That's just my personal opinion on this, but I think 24 hours is too generous, and if it's a short game, you could easily complete it in that time. Some people just complete a game in like 8 hours. So let's assume, for example, you bought it on a Saturday when you've got nothing else to do. You bought it at 9 o'clock. You could theoretically, if it's a short game, finish it by like 6, 7 p.m. That's taking into account breaks, to go to the toilet, eat, whatever you've got to do. And I think that's a little bit abusable. And so I personally would prefer it to count it from actual minutes played. So it gives you like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And I think that's perfect for users who don't really know how well a game's going to run on the system. It cuts out completely the need for them to release a separate demo, because let's face it, that means you've got the full game to actually, frolic around in. You can enjoy it. You could say, okay, this is fantastic. Well, you know what? This doesn't really work for me. I don't like the controls. I don't like the camera. I don't like the story. Whatever, reasons you don't like the game. Maybe you love the game and you said, maybe you're 50-50 on the game initially, and you think to yourself, you know what, I don't know if I want to part with my cash. I don't know if I want to spend £40 or £30 or whatever it costs to buy this game. Maybe I shouldn't do it. You kind of, if you're 50-50 on a game, you might not end up purchasing it. Well, in that case now, you could just say, you know what, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to give it a quick shot. If I like it, well, I can just keep it. And I think this is really good news for PC gaming, as one of the real big complaints that most gamers have is, well, system specifications on the box aren't exactly always accurate. Secondly, it doesn't really tell you, well, you know what, do I like this game? Now, obviously, there are still issues of, well, you can't trade it in 6 months later, blah, blah, blah. I don't personally have a problem with any of that. I've mentioned that quite clearly before in my personal videos. I don't really like used games, but I do like the ability to, be able to do something if you don't like the game. I do like at least a trial period, and I think this really works quite well for everyone. I'm hoping that it doesn't bite EA in the ass. I'm hoping that people don't just abuse the system. I'm hoping that, people won't try to just rush through the game and complete it. Of course they will, some people initially will, But obviously, certain games, they don't really work from being rushed anyway, like the Battlefields, the Call of Duties, basically the online type of experiences, they don't really work like that anyway. And even, longer games like, for example, Mass Effect or Final Fantasies, I'm just throwing these out, I'm not saying these are, EA games, by the way, I'm just throwing out random titles. Obviously, they take a hell of a lot longer anyway, but it more concerns me for games like, I don't know, something like Mirror's Edge. Obviously, I don't really know the length of number 2, but whatever it is. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. It's been a fairly brief one, but regardless, I will hopefully see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.